This video is for educational purposes only. I do not earn money from this video. Spirit Riding Free. An underrated gem of a series if you ask me. I could go on and on about why this series is so good compared to certain other children's series with ties to an earlier movie, which belong to the greatest of all time, I dare to say. The story of the series was coming to an end with Spirit Riding Free Horse Academy. The writers needed to bring these characters together like never before, so they decided to dive into a very difficult topic for many: grief. But I will not spoil too much. Let's dive into this episode. Going into the episode, the writers are not messing around. Sad music declaring the tone of the episode. We start with the three girls, whose group's name is the Pals, sitting in a train. They're normally colorful dresses, colored black for the scene. Here it is revealed that Lucky's granddad, James Prescott, has passed away. Her two friends, Prue and Abigail, try to be supportive as Lucky reveals to them how conflicted she feels about the situation. Her friends don't understand though, as James was not known to be a very nice man. To understand, we must go back to Spirit Riding Free Season 4. For Lucky's 13th birthday, James comes to visit, but it soon becomes clear he does not like the family living in an unhealthy place. This comes to a point he wants to take Lucky away to the city, but her dad and aunt stand up for Lucky. James leaves, and the bond was never really repaired. But still, Lucky states she still loves her granddad. She sees a side to him others never got to see. A sentimental, playful, and competitive guy. Arriving at their hometown of Miradero, they meet up with the family. Lucky's aunt, crying the whole time, Miss Flores, don't ask who she is, it gets complicated, is very supportive, and Lucky's dad, Jim, well, he's been kinda quiet. Until they want to go home, and Jim reveals he has a lot of work to do at the train station he now owns with the passing of his dad. Meanwhile, Lucky's two friends go to the barn to let their horses rest. Abigail then starts talking about how you never know when you're gonna lose someone, and how you should always let people know how you feel. Though Prue doesn't seem to be comfortable with this, and keeps trying to change the topic. Meanwhile, Lucky, being the strong character that she is, wants to prove to everyone that her granddad was a good person, which is the main plot of the episode. For a memorial at the train station, she needs to find a picture of her granddad that doesn't look like him. Meanwhile, to the people around her, it just shows Lucky seems to be in denial and does not want to seem upset. Lucky tries to talk to her dad, but he again is in a hurry, slowly seeming to turn like his father as he seems to shut out any help and hopes work will distract him. The Pals are now working together to try and prove to everyone what a great man James was. It is not easy though, with a good picture of James nowhere to be found and Abigail continuously going on about being grateful for every breath. It is tough for the group to stay in control of themselves. Back at home, Lucky finds out her granddad's will is still at his house in the city, so she takes her two friends on a trip to go get it. Lucky starts getting flashbacks of her granddad. Even though it's just one memory, it shows exactly how Lucky thinks of her granddad. He was strict, but he made exceptions, because he loved her. Night falls, and the girls set up camp and sit down, which leads to the most important scene of the episode, and one of my favorites of the entire series. Abigail starts talking about every ride can be your last ride. But Prue can no longer keep silent. She speaks up and reveals the truth. She has never dealt with grief before, and now that she sees it, she is scared of, well, death. This is followed by Abigail revealing it scares her too, but talking about it helps her to get over it. Lucky says some good words to help Prue feel better, but when Abigail says the same goes for her granddad, Lucky goes in denial again, revealing how upset she is she never got to talk it out with her granddad. The bad memories of that episode in Season 4 coming up. Her friends try to comfort Lucky as she eventually breaks into tears, something that is not seen in the show much beforehand, if at all. The scene ends there. The Pals arriving at her granddad's mansion the next morning. They search through his house, but don't find much apart from his final will and testament. That is, until Abigail goes all conveniently clumsy and spots a box high up. The box shows a bunch of toys and drawings. Lucky takes it home to her family and they sit down to look through it. The family brings up memories as the toys are revealed to be Jim and Aunt Cora's toys. Jim then finally opens up, surprised that his dad kept all these toys, realizing his dad must have cared about these memories as much as he and his sister do. The man sheds a single tear, wiping it away, finally showing his grief. The family hugs over the moment, finally all open about how they feel. Now it's time for the memorial. Jim holds a heartwarming speech about his childhood before revealing a beautiful picture of the family. James not smiling, but showing what a sentimental man he was. Even though this next episode shows this whole episode was just to build up to what not long after this episode would lead to the final 2 episodes of the series and the show as a whole, this episode brought a tear to my eye when rewatching the series. I always tended to skip this episode or not pay attention to it, mainly because at the time I'd never experienced grief before. But since I have, and the writers absolutely knew what they were doing when writing this. Each character has a different way of coping with grief, and the episode shows that really well. Lucky wanted to prove something and was in denial about actually being in pain about what happened between her and her granddad. Her father Jim just worked way too hard to try and work off the pain, but it just didn't work. He didn't want to talk about it and thought he could manage it alone, but he couldn't. Aunt Cora cried a lot in the beginning, but then became grateful about the time she had with Granddad, even though it didn't end in the best of ways. Miss Flores, not being so close to the man, was mainly a character of support, guiding the family in a time they needed her, and then Lucky's friends. Abigail starts talking a lot about remembering every moment. She is scared, but talking about it helps. Meanwhile, Prue struggles with the process, as she's never been through it before, and others talking about it makes her scared and gives her the creeps, which is something I think a lot of people have or are struggling with. This episode is so well done. The writers did not hold back any emotions and were completely honest. Of course, this series is pretty well known for not holding back in many ways, but this is the best way they did it, dealing with the topic well. At this point it's expected, but they still crushed it. This family has been through a lot, thanks partly to family drama, and partly due to Lucky's antics. And to see the family and friends unite is something great and something many family and friends can learn from when you have to go through mourning. Especially with the series coming to an end so quickly from here. The family and friends are ready to take on any challenge. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more Spirit Riding Free, then leave a like and let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to tell you why Spirit Riding Free is such an underrated gem. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Goodbye!